Hi everyone. Today I just wanted to do a quick tutorial to show you how I do the textures on my black and white pencil drawings. So it'll just be hopefully really fast, and I'll just show you the basics of how I put in the texture for those illustrations. So what you're going to need is a kneadable eraser. There it is. And you're going to need some of these nifty pencils. I have 7 of them. There's HB, and then 2H, 4H, and 6H. And then I have 2B, 4B, and 6B. And you shouldn't need anything other than that. So, alright, let's get started. I have this drawing of a little sort of Raggedy Ann doll here. And I'm just going to show you how I go about putting the textures on the drawing after I have it done. So, the first thing I do is I kind of figure out where I want the light coming from, and so that's going to be from here. And then what I do is, the goal of the texture drawings isn't necessarily to make it super realistic. It's more to just put some fun, interesting textures on for us to look at. And so the lighting and whatnot isn't going to be super correct, I guess you would say, but you do want to know what side the light is coming from. So I'm just going to go ahead and start in on her face. I like the idea of doing a doll because part of the point of the texture drawings that I do is to get a lot of texture in everywhere, but not have it overwhelm you. And the face is a really good spot to start, where we're going to have a texture, but it's not going to be very obvious or overwhelming. And yeah, so I'm just going to get my 4H pencil, and I'm going to start it on a texture. I think it'll be kind of a wheat. Okay, so I'm just going to go in and start laying in a texture. It's actually going to be kind of flat. Normally when you're doing pencil texture, you want to follow the contour of whatever it is that you're texturing. But for this example, I'm not going to do that. And this texture, I want it to look sort of like a weave, like a sort of a potato sack, sort of a thick, coarse weave. I'm going to do it on the hands too. So that looks just like lines right now. But I'm going to go in and do it this other direction. And as you can see, it's still really light. There's no like shadows in there or anything like that. It's just like a basic texture that I lay down. Okay, after I get that done, we have a sort of super light weaved texture. Hopefully you can see it. I don't want to make it too dark, but. And then after that, I know that the shadow is coming from here, and she has basically just a flat round face. So I'm going to get a little bit darker pencil. We'll go with HB first. And I'm just going to go in and I'm going to start making the lines a little bit darker, closer together, over on the side where I want the shadow. And you want it to be a gradual transition from dark to light, because it's not a hard edge, her face. So as I go across, I'm going to get further apart and not push quite as hard. But I'm not really pushing that hard. I let the pencil do most of the work. Then again, the other direction. Okay. Now I'm going to get just a little bit darker. We'll go with a 4B. we're just going to emphasize a little bit more of the areas that we want to shadow. I'm going to put a little bit of a shadow underneath her neck and around her collar. And I'm still doing the lines, the same texture lines that I was doing before at the beginning to keep the texture moving through the whole piece right here. And I like to kind of have really interesting outlines, not outlines, but line work around to show, you know, where things are going, but have some nice thick and thin lines to kind of help emphasize where things are darker and lighter. You don't want to just do an outline or it'll look too flat. So I just get that in. So you can see it's starting to look more like a shadow on that side of the face. All right, so that's that part. I'm going to put her nose threads in. All of her face is sewn up, so that has a really nice long sewn texture. And I'm just going to go right in with 4B and emphasize that. These lines are a little bit thicker because it's a different texture than the fabric that her face is made out of. And then the same thing with the eyes, but I'm going to do them the other direction. And get these threads sewn in. She has little eyebrows and a mouth that's also sewn. And we have a face right there. Now, when I was doing that, I didn't really think about the light side of the eyes. I'm going to go ahead and get my eraser and just dab out a little bit on the eyes and nose to show that it's lighter on that side. Might have gone a little too far on the nose. All right. So there's that part of the face. And now I'm going to go in with the hair. I want her hair to look like it's made out of yarn. So that's, again, a different texture than the one that we've had. So I have to think of a way to portray that. And I also want her hair to be a little bit darker than this part of the face. So I'm going to go ahead and use a 2B pencil to start out. And I'm going to go ahead and draw the little yarn hairs a little darker and out there. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some yarn texture on them. So we're getting a little bit on there, starting to look yarny. But with these, obviously, they have a shape. I'm going to put a little bit more texture, or not more texture, but darken up the texture on the underside of the yarn and leave it a little bit lighter in areas so it looks like it's yarn, you know, coming out, being round, kind of fuzzy. So you can see how that's working. And that would just continue all the way around the head, which I won't do in the video. You guys get a pretty good idea. But you can see now that it's getting to be a lot more depth in it. Then after I do that first layer all the way around, I'm going to go in and maybe darken up a little bit more some of the spots with a 4B pencil. And I do that all the way around, and obviously this side where the light is catching is going to collect the light a little bit different than this side over here where it's supposed to be in shadow.